What is up, AxieFaction? We are back in our Lunassian office, and I could not be happier. If you are a longtime watcher of my content, then you'll know that I have been theorizing about Origins since way before its initial launch. So I thought it would be a lot of fun to check out those older videos and find out if I was right or wrong. But first, in my last video, I promised to give away my budget team, so we're gonna pick a winner for that now. Have it. Fast one fun. Congratulations. Make sure to send an email to AxieFaction@gmail.com and we'll facilitate the rest of the giveaway. Now, the video I want to go over today was my video where I theorized on what the best Axies for Origins would be. Now, back then we called it V2, later becoming V3, but now we know it as Origins. And before you start a comment war going, "Oh Ryan, how dare you suggest purchasing Axies for a game that hasn't even been released?" Please be reassured that I made sure to preface the video by saying, now it's important to note that everything we talk about today is purely speculative. Nobody really knows how good these Axies will be in Battle V2. Now I think it's really important to have the freedom to be able to speculate on things to come, but it's also important to make sure that your audience is aware that this is purely speculation, and I hope I've done a good job of doing both of those things. The last thing to note is that when I was showing examples, I was completely limited to what was available in the marketplace. Breeding for Origins didn't start until like a month and a half ago. But without further ado, let's hop into this self-review and find out if my speculation was correct or not. And this was the first Axie I speculated on: Double Puppy, Confident, and Shiba. Now I did say that I would prefer to see an Axie with Dual Blade and Jaguar, which didn't exist at the time, but I'm honestly shocked at how reasonable this is. Now while Puppy Ears are probably one of the worst cards in the game, overall this is not too far off. I mean, look at the top 100. Over 60% of the teams are utilizing Shiba, Confident, and some even with Puppy too. Now say what you will, but considering how little information we had about the game back then, I'm honestly shocked I got this close. Now the next Axie I speculated on involved Triple Nutcracker, which has been proven to have utility, but also I involved Little Peas and Little Branch. I mean, just look at this guy. I was right on the money with this one. Triple Nutcracker, Little Peas, Little Branch, and Ronin. Even today, this is an extremely formidable Axie. Smack an Endless Anger on this guy and you are on your way to the top 100 for sure. Now, in the end, I ended up ruining it by suggesting putting a mint on the back, which probably wouldn't have been the best idea, but all in all, I'm kind of shocked. Next up is our plant theory crafting. Now, the one card we did have to reference was Sakura, which was all about healing, so I figured why not create the perfect healing plant? And this was the conclusion we came to. Now, quite honestly, I don't see this Axie performing very well in the current season. If the ears were something like Curved Spine or Innocent Lamb or even Sakura like we talked about previously, now this might be a top 1000 Axie. But all in all, I don't think I was quite on the money for this one. All right, next we looked at bugs, and I'm gonna let you make up your own mind about this one. And my first guess was to put Cute Bunny on a beast just because the card name sounds similar. I'm gonna go ahead and hang my head in shame and walk away on this one. But you know, right after we talked about Double Leaf Bug, and while this isn't currently a super meta Axie, this was one of the first Axies that were bred specifically for Origins, and it does seem to have some utility. So while this isn't really a meta Axie by today's standard, I definitely think the idea had merit, and I remember seeing these guys in the arena during some of the early days. Now, we were way off on this guy. I didn't really expect too much. The only reason I thought there might be some similarities is because of worm in the eyes, worm on the back, and the tail is literally a worm. And I even labeled it as unlikely, so I guess I was right after all. Next, we are looking at Aquas, and the immediate similarities that jumped out to me were Double Anemone and Double Nemo, and I thought for sure that these had to be on an Axie together. And the Axie I settled on was this guy here, Double Anemone, Double Nemo, Garo, and Lamb. And now, while I think a better mouth card would be Goda, this is not too far off to what we saw being played as a frontliner tank in the early days of Origins. Oh yeah, that was the good old days. Back when all you had to do was taunt, juggle, and get some passive healing going. That could win you the game back then. Back then, Puffy was broken, curse cards, stun cards. Remember when Tiny Turtle could target anything? Yeah, those were the days. But today, today it isn't so easy. Now, next up for the birds, the first one I theorized on was triple owl. Now, kingfisher, definitely not the right way to go. Eggshell, I think, is very valid still. We know that triple owl has potential, but just can't find its place in the meta right now. Maybe we'll figure out how to make it work in the future, or maybe with different sets of runes and charms. The next bird we looked at was this double peacemaker bird, which, I mean, I was right on the fact that double peacemaker is a valid strategy, but it's not really one that we see used in the meta today either. Next up, we looked at reptiles, and this one honestly kills me because I was almost right twice. The first reptile we looked at was this guy right here with wall gecko, gecko eyes, tiny turtle, and scaly spoon. Now, honestly, the only thing this guy is missing to be the perfect reflectile is like bone sail and curved spine, which is exactly what I theorized for my second reptile. And if I had just combined the two ideas, I would have been very close to something that has some real meta potential. I mean, before the rise of Shiba beasts, reflectiles were all the rage. Now, these were all ideas that I really had conviction in at the time, but to go back and look at it after all this time, it's really interesting. Seeing where I absolutely flubbed it and where it actually got pretty damn close to what we currently use today, it's very interesting, but go ahead and let me know in the comments what you think. Now, I know this is a shorter video than what I typically make, but I just got back from this big trip. I needed a little bit of time to decompress, and I think this was a perfect topic to re-explore. Now, after season 1, I plan on doing the same thing for some of my theoretical videos on tokenomics. It'll be very interesting to see where that all lines up. And next week, be assured that you will get a front row seat to my current ladder team. I ended my run this morning at top 43, but you better believe I'll be taking this team as far as it can go. So if you want to watch that, make sure to hit like and subscribe. Make sure to comment your Lunassian code down below, and I'll choose one Lunassian code to use for that week. If you want to support me using my code Ryan, it's the best way to do that. And until next time, I'll see you in the arena.